Boo. Hey, L. Riggs, how you doing? Spent 4 hours shoveling snow today. Sorry about that. Good Lord. Well, sit down. Hey, Indigenous Scott. Yeah, L. Riggs was just saying he spent like 4 hours shoveling. Good Lord. Yeah, why did you move back to the East Coast? I don't know. I got no idea. Nothing. Oh. Man, I've been spending the last, excuse me. Hey, Penny Agus, what's up? Let's see, what have I been doing? I have been putting flyers together for Babylon because there's a convention coming in my area pretty soon. And I want to pass out flyers for it. Define soon? About 3 weeks. Actually, maybe about 2 weeks now. Let me double check. No, 3 weeks. Yeah, it's about 3 weeks. Oh, man. Man, I was rip-roaring, ready to go. Now I'm a little spacey. Yeah. Well, let's take the metformin. Maybe that has something to do with it. We're currently listening to the dulcet tones of the Disco Elysium soundtrack. Yeah, it's very ambient. I was working to it all last night, and it just kind of got stuck in my head. Oh. Do, 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 do. TF Source, big weekend sale. Well, let's see what TF Source has got. What do you got for me? Well, $100 off is definitely good, but still $400. So, no. Can't be doing that. I've got to be paying for convention, flyers, and my domain, my internet domain. What a fucking month, huh? I know, right? 26 days of holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. I don't know how to even talk about it. So I guess I'll just talk about it without knowing ahead of time what I'm going to say. But first off, ICE has got to go. It's just got to go. It's a goon squad. It's a fucking Stasi. It's the fucking brown shirts. You know? It's got to go. And I'm tired of this. We need to restrict and reform. No, it needs to be abolished. It needs to be gotten rid of. Is Squarespace really bad? No, Squarespace is not bad, but that's not my host. Yeah, it's Trump's own, it's Trump's own Gestapo. You know, because that's what he wants. That's who he is. He's a little fucking bloated Hitler. With dementia. who were let just running amok over the fucking country. We're just letting them run amok over the goddamn country because America does not know how to handle malignant narcissists in power. Everyone is just so used to currying favor from those people and being like, oh, well, they make money. I guess we better follow them. You know, it's like trying to reform the Republican Party. No, there's no reforming. We know who they are. They are people, they are anti-democracy. There are a lot of things that we can tolerate, but anti-democracy is not one of them. You know, oh, the tolerant left me all you fucking want. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking give a shit. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I ever did. I'm tired of the bullies. I'm tired of the bullies winning. They've been winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. You know, and they win through idiocy, stubbornness, and willful ignorance. No, Trump is the GOP. You know, like, absolutely he is. He is their avatar. He is their Christ figure. He is their God. By being just the worst person fucking imaginable, Trump gets to play God. He's not smart. He's not really that charming. You know? He's just grotesque. Yeah, he's Yaldabaoth. Yeah. Yeah, he is the demiurge. Oh. And worst of all, he is this constant thrum. This constant thrum of, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you aren't the right sort of people. Oh, you don't really have as much of a right to exist as we do. And that's what I think I hate the most about him and the GOP that he leads, is that constant fucking attitude that is being upheld by religion. You know, the Jesus people. The Jesus people are doing it. I can't get over it that the Jesus people are just so fucking awful and cruel. You know, they're like MAGA, they're a cult.
Side, we get to watch the Rome fall live. If we're lucky, we might survive the death fields.
Yeah, right? We might survive the Spitalfields. You know, hopefully we'll do. And thank you for the donation, by the way. Donations help. We're having to spend a lot of money right now. Yeah, funny thing is we're not following the word of Jesus anyway. They don't care. Yeah. They don't care because it's Big Jack Film says, for me and my colleagues, the best thing we do is help us give those who need some escapism. Try to make people laugh, entertain, to give them hope. Yeah. Yeah. The fact that ICE shot a fucking guy giving medical attention to somebody is just, it just boils me. There's something about that particular type of arrogance and vengefulness that is just unhinged. It's just unhinged. Like, I think maybe the thing that has been revealed about ICE, in my opinion, is that while they may blame minorities for everything that's wrong, who they really hate are white liberals. That's who they really hate. Because white liberals are trying to hold them accountable. And because they're white, their own ethos kind of tells them that they kind of gotta listen a little bit. And I think that creates a rage inside of them that explodes outwards. You know, that's why so many of the people that they're fucking shooting to death are white people. I think a lot of Trump's support is astroturfed. I agree, Sue. I think a lot of it is. But I am not so naive as to think that that's a saving grace. You know, because those people are real. Some of those people are real. They exist. They may be stupid. You know, they may be hoodwinked. They may have been taken in by misinformation and propaganda, but it still fulfills an emotional need that they have. To be this thoughtless and cruel, to support Jesus and claim that they're the kind ones with an insincere smile. You know. I think it's apathy and having no empathy for people. Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's apathy. I think it's cruelty. My opinion is that it is cruelty. It is cruelty that they want. They want to be cruel. They want to be allowed to be their worst selves because, let's face it, their best selves aren't very good. Trump appeals to people's sadistic side. Yeah, he does. He does. He absolutely does. And it's sad that might actually be the thing that brings this whole thing down. America doesn't have to survive. It doesn't have to continue. And neither do we. You know. To me, that kind of It really upsets me. Yeah, when he dies, it will be like kind of the end of Return of the King. You know, just like, no, evil will be vanquished. You know. I wish there was. But I'm not going to have it in me to forgive anyone I know that became MAGA. It's not in me. It's not in me. It was too destructive and it was too needless. Let empathy for the enemy be someone else's job. It's not going to be mine. I don't have to forgive. You know, that's how I feel about how I will feel at the end of this. I don't have to forgive. You know, yeah, people are already saying we're going to need a Nuremberg trial. You know, for all the members of the fucking administration who performed illegal acts. Who knows if we'll get it? I don't know if we'll get it. We might. I might just I might just satisfy myself with the fact that it's over when it ends. Yeah, I can't. I can't forgive MAGA. It's taken too much. Yeah. They see weakness as forgiveness, then we don't forgive. Who knows? Who knows? That's the other like aspect of this whole thing that I hate. Who knows? I know what's morally right. I know what ethics demand. I know what justice looks like. Will we get it? No idea. I have no idea how to make it happen. God's job, I guess. I hope this helps. Oh, thank you.
Hope this helps. If you need some escapism from all of this, watch History of the Reviewerverse by Spectroheliotic. You're in part 2, a love letter to the impact you guys gave to the world.
Oh. What the History of the Reviewerverse? Let's see, how long is this thing? Oh man, looking at old Reviewerverse stuff, kind of a bit of a nostalgia bomb. "42 minutes. Damn. He gets into the Juaria thing. Oh, geez. Yeah, that was awful. So awful. I wish I could. Oh, hey.
Very disgraceful celebrity, and his name is key events of all critics. Erod have access to right, so they
Oh, yeah, all
cut the
critics
jerk.
must die. Huh. Policy hack. Remember Policy hack? Man. Doesn't get into any of the drama, just the history of it. Oh, man. Well, let's take a look. Why not? Why not? Let's take a look. Don't know how far we'll get. Doubt we'll finish the whole video, but
The Chronicles of Spectra.
What the hell was that?
Spectro, thank God you're okay.
Uni, what's going on?
I'm sorry, but I had to do what was needed to be done. I managed to stop time itself.
aww, little reviewer story.
Thankfully, I allowed you and I to move around in this state, but it won't last long.
Well, we need to act fast. Can you still use your powers?
Of course I can. My powers are limited to my imagination. The powerful it gets, the likelihood I'll lose them completely. Right now, I'm going to use what's left of my energy to scan the source of this big
Aww.
wave. In the meantime, you should find something to do while I'm in this state.
Well, best of luck, Uni. You got this.
Wah.
Thousands of years ago, before the main timeline of the Reviewerverse, there was once a reviewer by the name of Apollo Z Hack. He was destined to become the Reviewerverse's savior, but also prophesized as its destroyer. Apollo was a reviewer for hire, but was also a warrior in his own right, donning a powerful object known as the Exceed Rever Unit, which allowed him to transform into the hero known as Rever 1. The Nerdpocalypse was about to arrive, and Apollo would soon have to come face to face with his most deadliest foe, Cinera, aka Rever 2. Their first ever battle would soon be their last.
Oh, what's my
As
Discord?
the conflict to bring about the Nerdpocalypse soon came to an end, the Reviewerverse would once again be reset, due to Rever 1's
see.
cataclysmic wipe
Hang
of the
on.
second Nerdpocalypse. And with this reset, we come back to another thousands of years later, in which we now have the main Reviewerverse timeline that we see today. Apollo Z Hack's whereabouts are left unknown. Legend has it that he may have continued to become the Rever in another life, but due to various anomalies that continue to reboot the Reviewerverse over and over again, it is sad to say that we
Hey,
may
there's
never
a
hear from
link to my
Apollo Z Hack
Discord.
ever again. And although he may be gone, his character lives on.
Need some audio balancing here, but you know. Oh,
Now, before we talk about the Atop the Fourth Wall
Oh, hey.
and the concepts of Champion story arc, let's talk about All Critics Must Die. This was a project produced by Geek Vision TV and featured many reviewers of the now defunct website going on an adventure to stop an evil force by the name of Tograph. Tograph's mission is to not only eliminate any reviewer who gets in his way, but also summon the living embodiment of bad movies, Mal Cinema. In order to do so, he must utilize a reviewer strong enough to withstand as a host, and begins to target a reviewer by the name of Arthur Knowledge. This story features the likes of Count Jackula, the Horror Guru, Spazmaster, Some Jerk with a Camera, The Wire, Mikey Insanity, Stefan Korzek, and Ilnej as they do battle against the evil forces that try to plague the world.
as
with bad
we try to
movies.
do battle.
This movie was originally supposed to be released in 2013, but had several delays, which ultimately led to the project being cancelled up until 2020, in which it finally got released on April Fool's Day. I highly recommend you guys go check it out for yourselves. It's literally under an hour. And trust me, you're gonna get a lot of laughs out of this one. This was pretty funny to watch. What makes this project very significant is the fact that there's a lot of references to the wider reviewerverse. But what's notable are the reviewers who are featured in this story, who later went on to become reviewers for ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com, aka Channel Awesome, who are now former reviewers because of many reasons. In terms of the world building for the reviewerverse, it literally implies that there is a living embodiment of bad movies out there that is currently living on Count Jackula's shelf. But I don't want to spoil it any further because I highly recommend you guys go check it out for yourselves. You can find it for free on YouTube. It's only under an hour long. And if you're a die-hard reviewerverse fanatic, please check this out.
God,
This was
back
made
when I
for
had
you.
air.
Now, I want to come back to the cast of All Critics Must Die because each and every one of them has something unique they bring to the table, especially with Count Jackula. You see, Count Jackula isn't a human, he is an alien, specifically a Draculon from the planet Dracula. Now, we don't know a specific date on when he arrived to our planet, but we do know an exact reason for why he came to Earth. And that was because of his interest in the macabre and mundane that Earth had to offer. The Horror Guru also tends to have a lot of collaborations with Jackula, mainly because of the fact that in real life, the two are roommates. There's not a whole lot I could say about the Horror Guru other than the fact that in All Critics Must Die, he is described as an individual who collects strange artifacts. And we do kind of see it in the form of one of his side characters, Dagmar, an individual who lives within a mirror. Then there's The Wire, a more or lesser known reviewer who is made up of living television. Their main superpower is to allow themselves to transfer themselves to various digital screens, whether that be a television screen, a phone, etc. And while reviewers like Spazmaster, The Jerk, and Ilnej are just your regular run-of-the-mill reviewers, there's one in particular that really caught my interest, and that was Arthur Knowledge. Arthur was the host of The Quest for
Yeah.
Geekdom, a web show that was released
Good.
on Geek Vision TV. His whole shtick is the fact that he is destined to become the Grand Master for the Paladins of Hope. There is a literal nightly order
God,
that
this was
revolves
13
around the
years
realm
ago.
of geekdom, and they are destined to protect geek culture from the forces of evil that try to harm it. Arthur then decides to become a reviewer and is trained under the wing of Ivan, a member of the Knightly Order, as Arthur does whatever it takes to protect geek culture using his magic sword. It kind of sucks that this show didn't really take off because I was actually interested by the premise. Especially when you have reviewers like Erod and Linkara who have similar backgrounds, while Arthur's side of the reviewerverse gives something a little interesting in regards to the world building that fits really well with the aesthetic and theme of this shared universe. And it kind of sucks that at the time of me recording this video, they haven't uploaded anything and it's likely they won't be coming back anytime soon. The only ones who are still active within the reviewer space is Horror Guru, Count Jackula, sometimes Ilnej, he hasn't uploaded in about a year, and in regards to The Jerk, he too
But wait,
has also
I'm
retired.
still active? I guess the vlogs count, I guess. You know?
but has now become a host of his own podcast in the form of Escape from Vault Disney. Now, in regards to where All Critics Must Die fits into the timeline, it makes perfect sense that initially, given the fact that it was supposed to be released in 2013, it fits perfectly well as a storyline set a year after the events of To Boldly Flee, given how that was the original intention for All Critics Must Die. Which is actually really funny considering the fact that in an episode of Some Jerk with a Camera, the jerk mentions about the project not being released, but acknowledging the fact that the event had already happened in universe. Now, while Some Jerk with a Camera is just your average ordinary reviewer, he does have a side character that does have an impact within the events of All Critics Must Die, especially with the build-up to said character. And it just so happens to be a parody of a very disgraceful celebrity, and his name is Kill Bobsby. And he's supposed to be a parody of Bill Cosby. Yeah, you get the idea. The whole shtick is that Jerk used to make these jokes, but given the fact that he kind of found it distasteful, it kind of haunted him in a way, and thus Kill Bobsby took a life of its own and began to haunt the Jerk, and we see the type of impact that Kill Bobsby has towards the Jerk within the events of All Critics Must Die, in which
Damn, he really watched the shit out of All Critics Must Die. Damn.
the Jerk embraces the joke and weaponizing it against the main antagonist. Coming back to Channel Awesome, while there were a lot of reviewers featured in the anniversary specials, there were some that really never had a time to shine. Hell, it's kind of funny how behind the scenes, a lot of former Channel Awesome producers only joined the website so they can be featured in these anniversary specials. And one of these reviewers is my personal favorite, Erod the
Blockbuster Buster.
Erod probably has the most complex and interesting backgrounds of any reviewer within the reviewerverse. Because unlike other reviewers who just have access to all these magical items and weapons, Erod is the real deal. He's one of the few reviewers within the
Yeah. Kill Bosby was created before the Bill Cosby controversy.
reviewerverse to have superpowers. How did he get these powers? A long time ago, a young Erod came out of the premiere of The Phantom Menace in which he was disgusted at what he saw. And out of nowhere, a higher being had summoned in Erod's living room, giving him a magic hammer in which he dubbed Lucille, and giving him the mantle of the Blockbuster Buster, a title that has been passed down from generation to generation. By gaining these powers, the user has the ability
Erod still does
to
stuff.
touch any physical media that they touch and gain the powers from it. For example, if Erod wanted to gain Spider-Man's powers, he could simply touch a copy of any Spider-Man movie in existence. He can even give you these powers if you grab hold of him. It's a huge shame the fact that this guy barely had any representation within the anniversary specials. Hell, he would have been a huge help considering the fact that, again, his character has literal superpowers. It's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, like, we didn't know Erod. That's why he wasn't in All Critics Must Die. We literally just didn't know him. And he came on, I don't know when he came on. I think it was after To Boldly Flee happened. He was on the forums during that time, but I don't think he was actual, like, full member of the site until after To Boldly Flee. Yeah. He's one of those guys that I think ultimately there were several people we wanted to have in All Critics Must Die that we couldn't get. One being The Obscure. You know, we really wanted The Obscure. We also wanted Renegado. If any of you remember Renegado, the film Renegado. I remember, the funny thing is, I remember when they were going to do the 10th anniversary special. And the scripts had gone out and everyone was happy. I was a little bitter because I had already left the site, so I wasn't going to get to be in the one of the vaunted anniversary specials that I so desperately wanted to be a part of. It hurt even more that the 10th anniversary was going to be based around horror movies. But then the 10th anniversary special itself fell apart because it changed the channel. Because everyone was just like, oh, fuck this. You know. And I think the worst thing about Change the Channel is all the stuff that came out about Juario. That was crushing. It was absolutely fucking crushing. You know, I considered that guy a friend, and turns out I shouldn't have. You know, and let's see. What does the future hold for the old reviewerverse? Ooh. Huh. Huh. Do you think Doug Walker's more bad or more naive? Wow. My opinion on Doug Walker is that even though I talked with him and we conversed several times, I was really never able to get a handle on like what kind of guy he was. So I don't know. I know that the things that his company did were shitty. You know, I mean, in many ways, that's let's see. Well, the dysfunction of a company is also always a reflection of the dysfunction of the higher ups. People make structures that reflect them. And I think once things were held together by good times, everything kind of worked. But there was definitely a shift that seemed to happen in Channel Awesome, where Channel Awesome became less about everybody and became more about dug. And that's when most of the problems really, really, really started to surface. Stopping the Nostalgia Critic for the first time was kind of both the best and worst thing he could have done. I think would have been a better idea than what he did do is just simply to have taken a year off. You know, just taking a year off of the Nostalgia Critic. Instead of trying to replace it with something else that didn't work. Like one of the things that I think was one of the problems, and I think it's one of the problems across the board. Like everyone had this. Everyone's kind of got this. Yeah, Demo Reel was bad. It was just not good. You know, his comedy reviews were always better. You know, even when he came back, it was better. You know, but I think a lot of people you know, I hate to be real like clinical about this, but I think what you saw in a lot of Channel Awesome was a lot of people who didn't know how to manage fame. Now they didn't have the kind of fame that like a movie star has, but they still had it, you know, online. You know, they still had it, and I don't think they really knew what to do with it. You know, everybody want to be famous. You know, everybody want to be famous. Everybody wants to show the world who they are. You know, and I think some people, when they started showing the world who they were, didn't like themselves. Like for example, I suspect Spoonie didn't really like himself. You know, I suspect the person I like, for example, the person I wanted to be is I wanted to be the bearer of good times. I wanted to take the reviewer world into kind of that weird, like 60s psychedelic summer of love kind of place. Not that I wanted to have sex with anybody, Chan Lawson, no. But, bring a little bit of that like rebel attitude, you know, to the whole thing. You know, if to use the Stranger Things analogy, to be the Eddie, you know, and then it turned out that the majority of the people involved in Channel Awesome didn't want anything like that. I wanted to bring a little bit of rock stardom to it, you know. But that didn't really work out. Yeah, that didn't really. Oh, I usually go with Dionysus. You know, if it's Dionysus or Pan, I usually go with Dionysus. Um, show give hopefully help like show people the love. But that didn't work either. You know, I wish I had something a little more enlightening or uplifting to say, but I really don't. I really don't. I've been like going over the whole Chandler Awesome thing in my mind for the last 13 years, and I don't think I'm ever going to come up with an answer that is going to satisfy me. I don't regret it. I mean, I regret some of the videos. Some of them weren't that good, but like, I don't really regret it. Yeah, the algorithm demands rage. That was the other thing. That was definitely the other thing that made that made it difficult. It made it hard. Oh, Ghoulies? Yeah, Ghoulies 2 is the high point. Yeah, Ghoulies 2 is the high point, for those movies. Uh let's see. Queen of Discs reversed. Oof. Huh. Material goods that can void materialism when the card appears inverted. And the card is inverted. It's interesting. All right, 7 of Wands. Triumph. Then the Valet of Blades. Air that blows over the fertile earth. This card represents the power of invention and growth that comes from the combination of a great scope and a honed practical sense. It can imply a certain incompatibility of objectives and possibilities if it appears inverted. It is not inverted. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, you finished Walking Wake Up Dead Man. That's a good one. You're doing reading for yourself yesterday? Yeah. Well, I just got the this new tarot deck, which is the Tarot del Toro, which is a tarot deck all based on Guillermo del Toro movies. So like I gotta check it out. You know, gotta put it through its paces. I've been doing a very simple like past, present, future reading. You know, yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. I excuse me. I think a lot about where I've been, where I'm going. I'm a passive interest in falconry, especially during these times because, like, oh man, everything is bad. So much is bad. Oh, one of my actors working with Del Toro here in Toronto on Pacific Rim. Oh, is Frankenstein in there? I don't know. This may have been before they made Frankenstein. This tarot deck may have been before that. So let me see. It's got all the ones before Frankenstein, I'll tell you that. Let's see. The Lovers is The Shape of Water. Temperance is the girl from Crimson Peak. The Devil is Hellboy. The Star is the girl from Pan's Labyrinth. The Sun is one of the Jaegers from Pacific Rim. Judgment is the bomb from fucking Devil's Backbone. I thought that was pretty awesome. There's even some mimics in here. Yeah. Oh man. Well, let's continue our little
Interesting how
journey.
the Phantom Menace has an influence on both Erod and the events of All Critics Must Die, because it's established that Mal Cinema themselves was the impact that influenced bad movies moving forward. And according to Erod himself, one of the very first angry reviews was based around the Phantom Menace. So essentially, Star Wars The Phantom Menace was the trendsetter for the events that would lead into the wider reviewerverse.
Imagine it, being that dead.
Oh God.
Waiting in
Watching
line
my
for
own
months
acting.
just to see what great new vision lies ahead for Star Wars. And then, what happened at the end of the movie? We'd never ever forget.
I kinda liked it.
But nevertheless, when this movie came out, it was like 1,000 voices cried out in terror. And I will not let them be silenced!
Now, look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Phantom Menace is that bad. Oh, okay. Just hear me out. It's not as bad as Attack of the Clones or even The Rise of Skywalker, okay? We've had worse. Then there's Diamanda Hagen, a reviewer who just so happens to be an evil dictator of the in-universe country of Afghanistan. Afghanistan is even referenced in All Critics Must Die.
We invited Diamanda, but she couldn't make it.
Look, I've no interest in helping Hagestani orphans. I'm not falling for that scam twice. Ow! Fuck you!
Diamanda specializes in reviewing cult films, the weird and mundane, and Doctor Who. And yes, because their persona is a literal dictator, they have their own minions to do their dirty work. It's really hard for me to talk about Diamanda Hagen, not because of the fact that I'm not into their content, but primarily given the fact that their history is somewhat all over the place, especially given the fact that a lot of their reviews had been taken down and some of it's partial lost media at this point. So
Wait, what?
God knows when and where Diamanda fought a fairy, as mentioned in the crossover, A Voice from the Dark. And unlike the other reviewers, yes, they are straight up evil. They don't care who they kill, they don't care who they screw over. They're an evil dictator, and they just do whatever they like. Now,
Yeah, Diamanda is trans.
there's actually one storyline that not a lot of people know about, including myself, in which involves Diamanda Hagen being the main focus, and that story is called Fuck the Internet. This was a 40-minute short film in which Diamanda Hagen goes around and lures a group of internet reviewers, such as Spazmaster and The Wire, and snuffs them out. But it's revealed that this was just a skit within a skit, and Diamanda Hagen decides to erase the whole thing, not releasing it to the public, despite the fact that in our reality it was already released. So, placing it within the timeline, Fuck the Internet was released in the summer of 2011, occurring on the same year as Suburban Nights. One of the most interesting aspects of the Blockbuster Buster is the fact that in Season 8, we finally get to see a previous Buster user in the form of Una, who came back in order to reclaim the powers that are now bestowed to Erod. This led to a very lengthy battle in which involved Linkara and Obscurus Lupa. In order to reclaim her
Oh yeah. They deleted a lot of stuff, but like they couldn't delete my shit because like it was all YouTube links.
powers back, she must grab Lucille and transfer that energy into her. Unfortunately, it came at a price. Because of Erod and Lucille's various encounters with many deadly foes, Lucille developed a safeguard in which if any villain were to try to grab hold of them and gain their powers, it will not only prevent them from using said powers, but it will kill them in the process, as only the current Blockbuster Buster is allowed to use said powers. Although this wouldn't be the last time we saw Una. In Season 9 of the Blockbuster Buster, her past self crossed paths with Erod as they reviewed 2019's Dark Phoenix. This was the first And unfortunately, last time we'll ever see a former Blockbuster Buster, that is an Erod. Coming back to Diamanda Hagen, in Afghanistan they actually have their own news network, HNN. It's revealed through one of these segments that Obama likely didn't run for his second term, and that he was succeeded by President Julius Darien, portrayed by Doug Walker. And over in the UK, there is a character called Prime Minister Forsyth Stewart, portrayed by reviewer Ashens. Now, this conflict all started due to the fact that there was an armed militia from...
Whoa, okay. A lot going on there. Oh, thank you, Stacy. I'm gonna grab a coffee. I'm gonna grab a water. I'll be right back.
Minnesota that began their attack on Afghanistan. I wish I can show you the clip of the attack, but here's the issue. Like I said before, a lot of Diamanda Hagen's videos are considered lost media, and I can no longer find said video that depicts such scene. Which then leads to a very interesting topic within the Reviewerverse canon. Are real-world politics canon to the Reviewerverse? And the simple answer is yes. Yes, they are. Certain reviewers within the Reviewerverse don't really shy away from the world of politics and real-world issues. And a lot of it stems from the fact that because of all the outlandish and ridiculous stuff that happens within the Reviewerverse and the lives of these reviewers, and why there's barely any military involvement regarding stuff like the plot hole, or literal freaking kaijus that begin to terrorize New Jersey, it's all due to the distractions that are occurring in the real world. Because why would the military care less about attacking things like giant Rob the Robots or Godzillas? Now, in terms of Dr. Insano's status post-plot hole, he kinda just vanished off the face of the earth. And yeah, I know, due to IRL reasons, but let's just ignore that for now. We know that previously he was the President of the United States, participated within the events of Kick-Assia, and joined the rest of the reviewers within the new universe. The last time we saw Dr. Insano was a small appearance in the Atop the Fourth Wall movie, in which he refers to himself as Dr. Insano. And yeah, that's kind of it. Ever since Noah Antweiler, aka the Spoonie One, quietly retired the Spoonie experiment, we never really saw the character ever again. But it doesn't change the fact that Dr. Insano isn't the only mad scientist within the Reviewerverse. Enter Dr. Terawatt, formerly known as Dr. Holocaust. You probably already know why he changed his name. Before he was Dr. Terawatt, he was a man by the name of Brian S. Around 2009, he took up the mantle of Dr. Holocaust, and began to reign terror within the Reviewerverse. Like seriously, this guy had beef with everyone. Chester A. Bum, Dr. Insano, Savage Bandito, Captain Awesome, and even the nostalgia critic himself, who was made aware of the Doctor's presence. Now, this won't be the last time we'll ever bring up the Mad Doctor, because he appears in a lot of different projects. But for now, let's finally talk about the Atop the Fourth Wall movie. If To Boldly Flee was like Pokemon, the first movie, then the Atop the Fourth Wall movie would be the Mewtwo Returns of its storyline. The story behind the Atop the Fourth Wall movie is that Linkara is having second thoughts on continuing his review show, simply because of the fact that almost every time he sits down and does a review, he is always thrown in a life and death situation. Yeah, I know how that feels. He's one of the few reviewers within the reviewerverse to acknowledge this, realizing that no matter what he does, no matter what he reviews, no matter how comfortable he is in the comfort of his home, he's always getting attacked. Deciding to lay low with his reviewer buddies, along with his new pal, US government agent Alan Park, they are called into action in order to save a US government-built ship that was launched into space that unfortunately lost communication. The ship is known as the Kyle Estes, and it uses the same technology that was utilized and shown in To Boldly Flee, in which the technology was built by Dr. Insano himself to build a spacecraft that looks like a ship on the outside, but on the inside looks like a regular old house. As our heroes travel to space using Linkara's ship, the Chromacon 1, they find the source of the cut communication and realize that it was Mechakara the entire time and that he had survived in the events of To Boldly Flee.
I still had the artifact known as Malachite's hand on my person. My consciousness was preserved inside of it. And when the crew of this vessel brought it aboard, the artifact absorbed enough energy from the craft to restore my form.
Linkara is obviously traumatized by this, but decides to pull through. They land on one of Jupiter's moons, Europa, which they previously traveled and landed to in To Boldly Flee, and do battle against Mechakara. Unbeknownst to the reviewers, they find out that Europa contains a strange force that allows them to heal faster. And because Mechakara is non-organic, they easily defeat Mechakara, rescue the members of the Kyle Estes, and return home. With Linkara appreciating more of his reviewer side, and overcoming his past traumas. But the story doesn't end there for our fellow reviewer. Enter the Contest of Champions. Back in October 9th of 2017, Linkara was invited to participate in the latest Contest of Champions, an interdimensional tournament in which various individuals across the vast multiverse compete to win a special and valuable prize. And upon Linkara accepting this invitation, we find out that the prize itself is the Infinity Gauntlet. Linkara realizes that if any of his opponents are evil, he doesn't want them to fall into the wrong hands. Upon entering the contest, he goes up against various foes as well as gaining new allies in the process. But one of his most deadliest happens to be the Bandit Chief, a participant who has partaken in the contest in the past who has a very notorious reputation, one that alarms Linkara to the fullest. Now, I mentioned before that the log had already covered most of Linkara's lore, but up to this date, the Contest of Champions was never covered. The Contest of Champions story arc literally took 8 years for it to be complete. In between it were other story arcs. I'm pretty sure 3 or 2 were being covered at the same time while the Contest of Champions was still going on. And to make matters even worse, COVID-19 affected the story not only in real life, but also in universe as well, since the Contest of Champions was also being plagued by COVID-19, as the virus was being spread all across the multiverse, causing many characters to stay in quarantine. But once things started to die down, the Contest of Champions quickly got back up, and as Linkara continued to become victorious against his many competitors, it was finally time for him to come face to face with the Bandit Chief. Now, I actually forgot to mention the rules of the Contest of Champions. One of the many rules of the contest that it is a non-lethal competition. Players cannot kill, and if they do, they are immediately disqualified and banned from the Contest of Champions. And another rule is that competitors can choose the type of battle of their preference. For example, you can literally compete in a thumb war against an opponent. And it just so happens that Linkara wants to cap off his victory by competing against the Bandit Chief by playing a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course, you know how the story goes. Bandit Chief cheats, he gets disqualified, and Linkara wins. And the Infinity Gauntlet is now in his possession. But there's a twist.
The Infinity Gauntlet only works in the universe it originates from. That's the trick of the contest. The reason why past winners don't participate again.
As of me recording this video, that's all there is for the Atop the Fourth Wall storylines. But I think one of the craziest things to happen within the Reviewerverse canon is the fact that back in 2012, the exact year that To Boldly Flee occurred, H.P. fucking Lovecraft resurrected from the dead. He joined Channel Awesome and started a web show called Ask Lovecraft. This was a show hosted by Lehman Kessler, who does an amazing impression of H.P. Lovecraft. And yes, in universe, they treat him as the real H.P. Lovecraft. And yes, he even acknowledges the name of his cat. Now let's talk about the more lesser known web show, Battle Geek Plus. This show focuses on two best friends, Josh and Ryan, who go on various misadventures fighting against video game characters. Now, while this channel also posts other unrelated skits, the Battle Geek Plus show is heavily connected within the Reviewerverse, mainly because of one character that we previously mentioned, Dr. Terawat. He appears in the 10th episode of Battle Geek Plus. In said episode, he tracks down one of Josh's exes, all because she foiled his plans in world domination. The duo help aid Josh's ex, named Heather, and eventually defeat Dr. Holocaust. Although this wouldn't be the last time that Dr. Holocaust made an appearance within Battle Geek Plus, because in universe there was an auction to sell off the company Capcom, and many former reviewers of Channel Awesome participated in the bidding war. And just as things were about to go right, Dr. Holocaust decides to make a presence and steal the show. Attempting to inherit the Capcom empire, he quickly fails as the bidding war is won by Donkey Kong out of all people. Speaking of video games, let's talk more about the angry video game nerd, because honestly, I completely forgot about him. Not because of the fact that I didn't want to bring him into this Reviewerverse retrospective. If anything, I wanted to make him important as much as possible, but I completely forgot about him because it was overshadowed with other reviewers who are very significant within the timeline. It's almost apparent that a lot of people have seen almost every single episode of The Angry Video Game Nerd. And it's also easy to determine that a lot of the skits that occur within his reviews aren't really significant, despite the fact that they are really big, especially with his battle with Rob the Robot. A lot of the Angry Video Game Nerd storylines are very self-contained, like his multiple encounters with Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, and his beef with Bugs Bunny, who keeps appearing in his videos. The only storyline that I think is really significant within AVGN's lore, especially with the Reviewerverse, is the AVGN movie. The AVGN film really reveals a lot about what goes on behind the scenes of the Angry Video Game Nerd, like the fact that we find out that he actually has a cameraman by the name of Cooper. The plot centers around the urban legend of the infamous E.T. video game. Legend has it that the game was so poorly received that all copies of the game were then buried in a landfill. And because of the AVGN's reputation, there's this group called Cockburn Industries that wants to create a sequel to the game titled ET2 because of copyright reasons. We also kind of figure out that despite the fact that the Angry Video Game Nerd is very successful on the internet, he also works part-time at a bootleg GameStop. I think this is kind of a funny addition to the AVGN mythology because despite being one of the most popular creators at the time and still to this very day, he works part-time at a GameStop. I mean, nowadays with the economy of this state, that's kind of realistic. The fans really want him to review E.T., but he refuses. Finally opening up to the fans, he decides to go on an adventure with his buddy Cooper and Cockburn representative Mandy, as they travel to the supposed landfill sites that the terrible E.T. games were buried under. But they accidentally get the attention of a very villainous military general by the name of General Dark Onward. Yes, that's his fucking name. But just wait until you hear the name of the true big bad of this movie, Death Mwathix. Apparently, Death Mwathix is buried underneath Mount Fuji, and if he gets released, he could destroy all of humanity as we know it. And ironically, Atari's logo just so happens to be based around Mount Fuji. Now, to make a long story short, Death Mwathix reawakens from Mount Fuji, causes chaos within Las Vegas. The AVGN teams up with an alien from Area 51. They stop Death Mwathix and the military that's chasing them down. And the AVGN concludes with a review of E.T. the Extraterrestrial on Atari 2600, one of the worst games ever made. Now, this movie can be brushed off as non-canon given the fact that Cooper never returns again as well as Cockburn Industries, and we never hear anything in regards to the significance of the AVGN movie. But the only thing significant about it is the fact that it does get referenced in a later review of The Angry Video Game Nerd, in which he reviews casino games. The AVGN returns to Vegas as one of his guest hosts remarks about the events that transpired within the events of the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, with Def Mothix causing chaos within Las Vegas.
This place up pretty good after that monster attacked. You actually saw that thing. Why don't you talk about it more?
What happens in Vegas
stays in
Vegas.
And the AVGN rabbit hole only gets deeper from there, because I'm here to more or less propose a theory rather than an actual thing that happens within the timeline, and that theory is the chronologically confused AVGN timeline. There are multiple AVGN timelines within the Reviewerverse, some that are canon and some that are not canon. But regards to the canonicity of the timelines, it really doesn't matter, because there are a lot of different timelines that branch off from.
Man, AVGN. Guess here's Bat Country. Oh, man. I had fun doing those videos. I really did. But I think it's time for I'm off to try to create a new chapter of myself, going back to another passion, that being tabletop role-playing games. As some of you probably already know, I have been, for the last 5-6 years, I've been working on a tabletop role-playing game called Babylon City of Monsters, in which you play a monster like a hellspawn, a vampire, a werewolf, a ghoul, a Medusa, who all make their home in the underground city of Babylon, which is their refuge. And they are in the middle of a shadow war with angels of hate and spite. If you want to follow the progress of Babylon over on Blue Sky, it's at Babylon Game Studio. .bluesky.social. You know, I'm hoping that it will be a success, but we'll see. We shall see. I've been working on a flyer for the damn thing, which I am going to be passing out at DungeonCon in February. DungeonCon being a tabletop role-playing convention in San Rafael. And here's a little look at the flyer. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I'm about to send that off to the printers. And really, the purpose of it is to drum up. Oh, let's see. Speaking of Babylon, how does Nightkin Society deal with the culture shock that happens when someone becomes Nightkin? Oh, they try to ease them in. First, you got to find them. And then they try to ease them in, and they are given a sponsor whose job it is to kind of acclimate them to Nightkin Society. And a year and a day after they're taken in by the sponsor, there is an initiation ceremony that they are given, where they swear, they swear allegiance to Babylon and the other Nightkin. And then they are considered to be full members of the society. Make that a poster and stretch goal. Oh, yeah. Posters actually aren't that expensive to make. I mean, they're more than I can afford now, but like overall, they're not that bad. I'm actually like, I was actually looking into making that into a full 24 by 36 poster at some point. Are the coins still a thing? Yes, the coins are still a thing. That was one of the little details of the setting, is that Babylon has its own form of currency, which are these tokens, where they're technically made out of orichalcum, which is a alchemical metal, a mythical alchemical metal, that's supposed to have magical properties. But to a normal mortal, they just say Babylon Arcade. So they literally use arcade tokens as money. Curious if you have characters that are already some kind of creature of the dark but haven't been initiated into the characters. No, the characters are expected to actually have already like become part of Babylon. There are creatures that aren't part of Babylon and are not considered kin. But and there are like, it's highly implied that there are other underground monster cities. What's the blue sky again? It is Babylon Game Studio .bsky.social. Yeah, but there are creatures of the dark that haven't been initiated into Niken society. You know, yeah, but they generally aren't player characters. Let's see. Oh, you like that we have that kind of world building? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Are Niken different species with different origins, or is there a common ancestry with them? No, they're all technically different species. They are all different types of creature of the night. Got a GoFundMe yet? No. We're working on a Kickstarter. See, I'm trying to get a local TTRPG shops around here to check out because they're looking for newer games. Oh, that's good. It's good that they're looking for newer games. I'm part of a Discord server that is a bunch of us like TTRPG creators. Most of whom only have like either haven't released their main product or have like only one under their belt kind of thing. Oh, god damn it. Did I just... Well, that just goes to show, like, what goes to show me. Not all cities have a connection to Babylon the city. No, not all of them do. Like, within canon, the big city that Babylon connects to is Los Angeles. And while there are connections in other cities, there aren't that many of them. Most of the connections are in LA. You know, the primary setting is in Los Angeles. In fact, there is a big plot line. There is a plot line surrounding the attempt to connect two of the cities into another city into Babylon. An expansion to New Orleans. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, I would want a local to write that, if at all possible. No, you can't go to NYC to LA because within the canon, Babylon used to be under New York City, but it was... but the war in the 80s forced them to move it. The war in the 80s and the war of the 80s and 90s, like, forced them to move it. Basically, the gentrification of New York basically destroyed its connection with Babylon. You know, by the same token, my home city of San Francisco does not have a direct connection either. You know, because gentrification just kind of went too far. Oh, the Beauty and the Beast. Oh, yeah. That was good stuff. That was really good stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous, but, you know. How connected is Babylon to the Feylands? The Feylands are not... The Feylands are not what other fucking settings have. There is instead a dimension called the Green Ruin, which is a vision of an apocalyptic Earth after all of humanity has died off. And that is the Fey realm. Now, there are Fey creatures, and we are planning on doing a whole book on them. And they will be some of them will be playable. The two main fey creatures that we're planning on bringing into is the green. Is it? No. The Green Ruin is apocalyptic. Is post-apocalyptic. You know, but instead of everything being blasted into desert, it's like nature has just reclaimed everything. It is a land where the Jotun, like, wander. And, you know, fungus is intelligent. And, one of the main Fey races that we're going to do are the Huldra. You know. Let's see. Was the gentrification intended to cut Babylon off? Yes. Yeah, it is. Like, one of the things that the Green Ruin does is that it makes... There is this infectious, like, growth within the Green Ruin called the Rothscott that basically remakes someone's body. And one of the things about the Fae is that they're not sure whether they are that person recreated and reborn, or if they are something that just has those memories. Jord Scott. Yeah, very based on Jord Scott. You know, you could not finish it? Oh, man. I fucking love Jord Scott. So, like, being a Fae means that you don't know if you're actually, you don't know if you are a person who has turned into a monster or a monster that thinks it's a person. You know, are you just a rot and fungus that thinks it's a person? You know, a question that we never answer. There is an answer. We're never going to tell it to you. Oh, it was removed from streaming before you could finish it? Oh, suck. Oh, suck. That's too bad. It's really good. Yeah, if you can find it, if it's still available in your area, the show Jord Scott is really good. You know, it is definitely urban fantasy. It is definitely like Nordic fairies. Let me guess, does a green ruin look like a ruined Earth, or is it the future? Yeah, it looks like a ruined Earth. You know, some of the buildings are still there. You know, but they are inhabited by other things now. If they are inhabited at all. Those are the deep questions all people should be asking. Am I a person or a monster that thinks it's a person? Yeah. Well, it's continuing the metaphor of the Nightkin themselves. Like the vampires, you know, the undead could ask themselves the same question. like The Last of Us, a little bit like The Last of Us, but like instead of like how the clickers are like zombies, the things it makes tend to be more intelligent. Yeah, in fact, actually, the main inspirations for the Green Ruin were Yort Scott, Lovely, Dark, and Deep, and Annihilation. Let's see. Yeah, Annihilation was a big inspiration. So was The Ritual, actually. Are we people, are we monsters, are we both? Oh, about nature taking over? Yeah. In that way, yes. Yeah, Lovely, Dark, and Deep is great. Yeah, there are several dimensions that you can fucking encounter in the setting of Babylon. There is the Green Ruin, there is the flip side, which is essentially the spirit world. But the spirit world is very dark. It is very dark, and it is not necessarily friendly. You know, it is a bit more like Silent Hill. And then there are, because I like it so much, the Plateau of Lang. Which we will probably go, you know, somewhere within the Plateau of Lang is Dread Carcosa. Let's see, is describing it very much like Midian from Nightbreed. Yes. Yeah, Midian, you know, Babylon is definitely inspired by Nightbreed. Does Babylon have diplomatic relations with any other realm? Yes, it does, actually. Hell. It has relations with Hell. In the setting of Babylon, Hell is a real place, and you can technically go there. You probably don't want to, but you could. Hey, cute little cat girl, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Oh, thank you for the follow, Big Jack Sky and Necromancer 79. Is there any particular locations where people could go to hell in your game, like serious locations or joke locations? No, they're hell is pretty serious. It's weird, but it's pretty serious. Like there is, like each of the princes has their own like kind of territory, but surrounding all of hell is the thing called the Blood Shores. You know, as if this is one side of hell, like borders this endless ocean of blood. Blood ocean, an ocean of blood. You know, but there are some other people there. There are some other things there too. Like the Queen of Ghouls. She is in hell. The Lilith has a domain in hell, as do Osmodeus and Beelzebub. Beelzebub. Let's see. What are some other creatures that could be part of Nightkin society, but for whatever reason are not? Oh, the Fright Clowns. The Fright Clowns are not considered kin. There are a couple of others, like we're trying to figure out where the Skinwalkers are. Because we're leaning towards the Skinwalkers not being kin. The Skinwalkers are probably not going to be kin, but like the Deer Women are. There are also the Witchborn. The Witchborn are people born with some sort of mutation or psychic power. Not quite human. Not quite Nightkin. Yeah, the one thing that we think that we're pretty sure of is that the werewolves and the Skinwalkers do not get along. Oh boy. Yeah, maybe Skinwalkers are on a case by case basis. Yeah, we haven't decided yet. Oh boy. Okay, it's been almost 2 hours, so I think I'm gonna end the stream right about here. I want to thank all of you for coming down. I want to thank everyone for your generous donations. Without them, the stream wouldn't be able to continue. So thank you very, 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 very much. Are ghosts Nightkin? No, they are not. They are not Nightkin. The Wendigo is also not Nightkin. Where is Babylon realm-wise? It is somewhere between here and hell. So until next time, everybody, Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno. I remember Satan and I love you all very much. Till next time, be good to yourself out there.